I've promised it for weeks. Here we finally are. This is my FNAF Security Breach Ruin DLC video. Hello, welcome to Mia Likes Movies. My name is Mia, and yeah, I do like movies. I like other things too, but Mia Likes Movies just sounded the best. Today we are talking about my thoughts and theories about the upcoming DLC for FNAF Security Breach, which is called Ruin. The DLC was first announced in May of 2022, and they dropped the trailer last month, May of 2023, Steel Wool Studios YouTube channel. That's very hard to say with my Philadelphia accent. For those of you who don't know, Steel Wool Studios is actually the game developer for Security Breach. Scott published it, but instead of also developing it, he outsourced, which is wonderful. They are an independent game developer, and they are very invested in developing the future of gaming. The first FNAF game that they worked on prior to Security Breach was actually FNAF Help Wanted. They've definitely helped to redefine and recontextualize the franchise, and I'm really excited to see what they do with this DLC. So as for the trailer itself, we got a lot of really interesting details. So here's just a brief summary. The trailer opens up on a rundown and closed up pizzaplex. Newspapers cover the windows, and there's vandalism and graffiti everywhere. In the center of the frame, you can kind of see it. I honestly missed it the first time I watched it. Small girl in a, we'll call it red sweater, enters. We see some familiar areas now trashed after time. Gregory, who is the protagonist of Security Breach, is pleading to a child named Cassie, and Cassie will end up being our playable character and is presumably the girl in the first shot. Gregory tells Cassie that he is trapped in the pizzaplex. He seems to be in a rush, claiming that there's no time to talk. Gregory says that it's, quote, so dark down here. There are shots of a faceless Roxy. Cassie plays with a mysterious device that resembles Glamrock Freddy. There's an endoskeleton that powers on. Chica, who doesn't have a beak and is like burnt and withered, is wandering around. Cassie goes through the security cameras, and she also places the Freddy device into a machine that has some missing wires and stuff. Cassie uses her Roxy walkie, which is what I'm calling it, to tell Gregory to run, and then we see more shots of the rundown pizzaplex. We see a staff bot looking worse for wear, and then we see a Monty, only the top half of Monty. Cassie jumps and fights off an attack from Monty. Chica is slithering around. There's more shots of faceless Roxy. There's a brief jump scare from the daycare attendant. Out of everyone that we see from Security Breach, he looks the best. He looks fine, actually. Finally, Cassie puts on a Vanny mask, and it looks like the mask has some sort of electronic vision or sensor. However, this view is interrupted with an appearance from a glitching bunny man. Who could this be? We get our title card and a closing quote from Gregory. Don't give up on me yet. This DLC is set to release sometime this month. Obviously, the biggest thing to note about this DLC is that Gregory is not our playable character. At least for most of the DLC, we'll not be playing as Gregory. Some have speculated that we may play as Gregory at some point, but we don't have confirmation either way. What we know for sure based on the trailer is that we will be playing as a young girl named Cassie. Cassie is not a name that we have heard in FNAF before. It does evoke kind of the sense of Cassidy and Charlie, almost sounding like a combination of the two, but I don't really think there's any correlation between that. According to the website Nameberry, Cassie is an Irish name meaning brave in battle. To me, it just seems like they chose this name to be thematically appropriate for FNAF, since she will be braving the battle of the rundown pizzaplex on behalf of and for Gregory. So who is Cassie? Like I said, we don't know anything about her beyond what we see in the trailer. She has this lightish brown or dark blonde hair. It's kind of hard to tell exactly from that wide shot. She wears the aforementioned reddish sweater. Her nails are painted like a neon green. On her left wrist, she wears a charm bracelet with various pastel and neon charms. Then on her right wrist, she wears a purple bracelet. We don't know her official relationship to Gregory. Many think that she's perhaps his sister or maybe a close friend. Maybe they don't actually know each other at all, and it's just kind of like an accident that they happen to be in the same place. I find it more likely that they're siblings just because siblings, family, and found family have been a consistent theme throughout the series. So color is also very important in the FNAF series. It always symbolizes relationships and morality of characters. You know, this has been true since the mini games with Purple Guy. Cassie has a lot of important colors in her design, one of which being purple. Cassie is wearing a purple bracelet, and you know, because of Purple Guy in FNAF, purple is almost always associated with being evil. But Cassie also has green nails, and if you remember Charlie, William Afton's alleged first victim, and the spirit that possesses the puppet, she wore a green wristband. And then Elizabeth, William Afton's daughter, who got famously scooped by Baby, has green eyes. So if you look at that, green is almost always associated with being innocent or good. Cassie has these colors featured predominantly in her design, and you're like, not predominantly because it's just her nails and her bracelet. She's a first-person perspective character, so all you see is this. So in that sense, they're prominent in her design. Both the nail polish and bracelets can be taken off, technically, so both are temporary. Nail polish arguably is a more permanent alteration to one's appearance than a bracelet, which is just an accessory. And what I mean by this is that Cassie does seem to embody innocence or good in a way. Her hands, which are the player's main tools of the game, are highlighted by this bright green nail polish. So Cassie does seem to be a vessel or tool for innocence or good as she explores the Pizzaplex. However, she is wearing that purple bracelet. It seems like a temporary addition to her. Maybe she has been tricked by or has interacted with one of the antagonists, which has brought her to the Pizzaplex. Regardless, it appears like Cassie will have to battle between good and evil. Cassie's main journey in the DLC is to save Gregory, who is trapped below the Pizzaplex. After the publication of some of the FNAF Tales of the Pizzaplex novels, many fans have developed a deep distrust of Gregory, as many of the stories hint to more devious origins for him. Matt Pat talks a lot about this in his Ruined DLC videos. Since he is someone who has actually read the books, if you want a more nuanced exploration of this, please go watch him. That being said, these stories raise a couple of questions, the biggest one being, can we, the audience, and Cassie trust Gregory? Or is Gregory just trying to lure Cassie to danger? Some people also believe that some of the previous antagonists of FNAF could be behind the reason why Cassie is where she is at the start of the trailer. Some think that Vanessa/Vanny, William Afton, or Mimic, and if you don't know, Mimic is the AI of the Pizzaplex, may be posing as or controlling Gregory in order to lure their next victim, Cassie. In a lot of the endings for Security Breach, Gregory actually escapes the Pizzaplex. So why is Gregory still there? In the trailer, Gregory says it's dark down here. We can infer that he is below the Pizzaplex then. In the books, Mimic also claims to be below the Pizzaplex. Is this a coincidence? Are there any coincidences in the FNAF franchise? Sometimes. It's only a coincidence until Scott retcons it. I personally think that it is probably Mimic posing as Gregory. It seems like the Security Breach era of FNAF is more connected to the books in a way, and that they're trying to make them both canon in the same way. One person, or animatronic rather, that is noticeably missing from the trailer is our dear friend and icon, Glamrock Freddy. Although we see his resemblance in that mysterious tool that Cassie uses throughout the trailer, there's no actual appearance by him. Some speculate that the endoskeleton that powers on in the trailer is Freddy and that the whole sequence might be like a miscommunication. Others think that Freddy might be hiding somewhere for his own safety. I think the latter is more likely and that he's just not in the game at all. Also, considering the multiple endings of Security Breach, not having Freddy would be the most vague option that fits with pretty much all of the endings. Speaking of multiple endings, it's been generally accepted by the fandom that the DLC takes place after the Burn Trap ending. In this ending, Burn Trap tries to escape the burning pizzeria but is captured by the Blob. Gregory and Freddy both escape from the collapsing pizzeria from underground. People have assumed this since in order to get this ending, you have to damage the animatronics, Chica, Roxy, and Monty, all of whom are seen withered as fuck in the trailer. You know, that being said, the DLC could very well take place after any of the endings, since most infer the closing down of Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. I do agree that the Burn Trap ending seems to be the canon ending, and that the DLC is mostly fashioned after that ending, since we see the appearance of that mysterious bunny thing that could be like an alternate version of Glitch Trap. It would make sense that Afton would carry over from this. I've talked a lot about the potential antagonists, but I want to talk about potential allies for the Ruin DLC. In Security Breach, obviously, Glamrock Freddy was our ally. Like I said, I don't think that he's going to come back for the DLC. I don't think that this means that Cassie will not have an ally. I briefly mentioned before that Cassie is wearing a charm bracelet, and if we look at its colors, the colors are green, purple, blue, and that pinkish red. One of the other characters in Security Breach that also has a similar theme as well as red, like Cassie's sweater, is Roxy. In the trailer, Roxy is the first animatronic we see, and after we see her, it cuts to Cassie, and that's the shot where you can clearly see her nails, her bracelets. Roxy is also often depicted with her nails or claws painted the same color as Cassie's is, that green, and Cassie is also seen using the Roxy walkie-talkie in the trailer, and there's also a little wash of green over it. I think it's highly possible that Roxy might help Cassie at some point. You know, we love women's solidarity. And also many have speculated or pointed out that in the clip in which Roxy grabs Cassie, Roxy isn't necessarily hostile. Like, she's not trying to bite us, maybe. You know, maybe Roxy suffered an ego death after the fall of the Pizzaplex and she lost her eyes, and she decides to help instead of harm. And then some other things of note, there's lots of vandalism, and the colors are often green, purple, and this yellowish orange. Those colors are prominent in the FNAF series. This yellowish orange is synonymous with purple and its themes of evil and bad. Glitchy guy is glitching between the colors green and purple. Also, little side note, doesn't this little part look like a person? I don't know if it means anything, but that's just like a really cool design element. You know, on the website in the bottom corner, the logo is purple, reverse version of green. MatPat talks about this in his Ruin DLC video, is that it's reverse, not a mirror, and so they're opposites of each other. Again, it seems like the major theme of this game is innocence versus evil. Maybe we'll finally see the demise, the official demise of William Afton by defeating that mysterious glitching bunny. And this will allow Mimic to naturally transition into our next big antagonist in the game series. The mysterious tool that I keep talking about reminds me a lot of those receivers that you use in the RE2 remake. MatPat pointed out that this thing Cassie plugs it into already has a battery on the bottom, so the tool is not a portable battery, or probably isn't. And like I said, I think it's like a receiver that can help us transfer power to different areas of the map or something. Looks like a lot of the parts of the Pizzaplex are in the dark, so maybe we need to use the tool to illuminate different areas. It also looks like there might be some USB ports on the side of the tool. It seems like that there's multiple uses for it, is all I'm saying. By saying Gregory run, it implies that we see Gregory at some point, since we have to know exactly where he is at or what he is doing to tell him to escape the potential danger that's going there. You know, I guess that's not exactly true, but, you know, it does imply that we'll know the general position of Gregory throughout. That's probably a bit more specific than just under the Pizzaplex. Finally, inside the Vanny mask looks a lot more technologically advanced than that seen in FNAF VR. Everything is highlighted in a purplish pink. It looks like it might be highlighting electronic power in certain structures, or even perhaps, and I think this is more likely, the structures where the Mimic AI has access to control. Immediately after this moment in the trailer, it cuts to who I keep calling the glitching bunny man, because it's technically not Glitch Trap, implying that there's a connection between the use of the Vanny mask and that bunny man. MatPat theorizes that the Vanny mask may be a tool Cassie can use, but if it's used too much, then it allows that creature to be summoned. I think that this is pretty likely considering the obvious connection that they make in the trailer. And I keep calling this thing the mysterious bunny man because it's technically not the glitch trap that we've seen, and it's not the burn trap either. So my theory is, and I think we should call this like glitch trap 2.0, because this is a literal glitch. You know, I think that after the Pizzaplex burned down, Mimic absorbed burn trap. creating the glitch trap we see in the trailer. You could also argue the same thing with Vanny. Might be either or both. Van trap, maybe. On trap. It's The Sound of Music. Where are those little blonde bitches? So those are my thoughts and theories. Since the DLC comes out this month, I don't think we'll be getting any more trailers or hints prior to its release. I'm really curious to see where the series is heading. I love what Steel Wool Studios has done so far. Do think that the DLC will mark the end of the Afton Era, and it will allow Steel Wool Studios to have a bit more freedom when developing their lore, since it can be more separated from the original 6 games. I think having to tie everything back to William Afton has created this really messy, although really entertaining and addicting timeline. And moving on from William will allow, like I said, freedom in a lot of ways. As always, let me know your thoughts down below. This will probably be my last FNAF video for a while. While I love FNAF, I'm not looking to be a specifically FNAF YouTuber. I will probably not post anything more about FNAF until we get maybe another movie trailer or until after the movie comes out, because I will be seeing it opening night and I will be giving my review. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover. Like and subscribe, and please don't give up on me yet. That was gross. I hated that. I think I could probably do a Gregory voice. Please don't give up on me yet. Sounded a bit more. It's glitching. My computer started glitching. That's weird. Okay, bye.
Don't give up on me yet.